Sarvetra Sukhina Santu Sarve Santu Niramaya Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kaschit Dukkama Pyunam Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Tat Sat. Srimad Bhagavad Gita, this is our second session, and in the beginning, I would like to briefly introduce a couple of characters that will come across. One doesn't have to know Sanskrit. One doesn't have to memorize all the characters, because most of the talk will be on the application. So let me take you through the characters, understanding some of those. First of all, Kuru is the dynasty kingdom, and the ruler happened to be Dhritarashtra, who was a blind king. His wife's name is Gandhari. Dhritarashtra appears to have quite many children. Let's take the number 100. And the Prince of Wealth name is Duryodhana. Kuru dynasty, or Dhritarashtra children, and the other people are called Kaurava. Kuru, Kaurava, Dhritarashtra's children. Pandu is Dhritarashtra's cousin. Let's not get into the details of it. He had two wives, Kunti and Madri, which are Pandu's queens. Arjuna is Pandu's third son. And the entire dialogue, pretty much entire dialogue between Arjuna and Bhagwan Sri Krishna is Bhagavad Gita. And Pandu's children are called Pandava. So now let us go back to look at the third or the first sloka. Once again, I'm referring to these 3 lines in small letters in green. And those of you can read Sanskrit, Devanagari, I'm referring to the first 3 lines. So Dhritarashtra Uvacha, that means Dhritarashtra speaks. Who he speaks to? Sanjaya, his minister. And he says, Dharma kshetre, Kurukshetre, Samaveta Yujutsavaha Mamakaha Pandavaha Chaiva Kim Kurvata Sanjaya. So, Kshetra, country, area, boundary, stage of action. So it is that Dharma Kshetra, that area, and I will explain in a minute about Dharma Kshetra, Kurukshetra, in the Kuru's kingdom, Samaveta, getting together, or they are collected, Yuyutsavaha, Yutsava for the fight. And the second line says, Mamakaha, mean my mean Dhritarashtra's. Pandavas means that of Pandu, children, Chaiva, that's how it is, or ever. Kim Kurvata, Kim, what? Kurvata, doing, or Sanjay, what are they doing? So let's see what the translation says. This is how the translation is. Dhritarashtra said, O Sanjaya, after gathering on the holy field of Kurukshetra and desiring to fight, what did my son and sons of the Pandu do? This is all, and now we'll elaborate the all right, friends. So two words to be understood. Kuru Kshetra. Kuru is a dynasty, and Kshetra, as I told you, it can be considered as a kingdom. It can be considered as an area. It could be an area of action or the stage of action. I said a couple of those words. So here, since we are in country of USA, so you can say USA Kshetra. The second word I say, the area. Now, here, Arvine is a Kshetra, the city or the boundary of the area of action. Somebody may be working in one's own kitchen, let's say a housewife. So, the Prasad Kshetra, that means it is the boundary in which all her activities exist. And that is where she is carrying out her duty. So the word Kshetra, try to understand. And so far as a student is concerned, his area of activity is not necessarily the country. His area of activity can be house, can be the school, or the study area. That is his action area. And this is very crucial for all of us to understand. And the second word that we are learning is Dharma Kshetra. So Dharma Kshetra, it can be considered as an adjective qualifying word to the Kurukshetra. So Kurukshetra, Kuru's dynasty was known to be where the Dharma is continuously being executed. So now the question will come, what is Dharma? Quite often, Dharma is translated as religion. Please do not do so. One of the definitions of Dharma is dharayati iti dharma. Dharayati meaning beholding, meaning if you happen to be a soldier, then your dharma is with which you can be called soldier. That means not sitting in the house, but defending the country, defending the civil of the country. So it is countries, it is the soldiers' dharma. Likewise, that of a student, sadhaka, and we all, our dharma is to be a seeker of truth. Understand the word dharma, dharma kshetra. So at the Kurukshetra, it's talking about the two words, dharma kshetra and Kurukshetra. So if you treat dharma kshetra as an adjective, that is, Kurukshetra is that dynasty, it is that kingdom, it is that area, it is that battlefield where dharma is always executed. And throughout one's venerable study, the detailed story of Bhagavad Gita, one may consider that, what is it? But this is nothing but two cousin brothers war fighting. Is that what is so popular, world famous book or the scripture? But let's understand from the application point of view. So the Kurukshetra, the characters being Kaurava, the civics of the Kuru dynasty, or the area of, or the kingdom of Kurukshetra, the people, they are fighting, and fighting with whom? Cousin brothers' children, and that is Pandavas. And the argument happens to be, or the dialogue happens to be, between the third son, Arjuna, and that of Bhagwan Sri Krishna. Now, at this stage in the game, I would like to very clearly mention, particularly to the people from Indian origin or Bharatiya, and the reason is, instead of treating Krishna as a personified form, we'll be looking at the Krishna consciousness, the spirit of Krishna. And as we go further, more and more, we'll be learning how Krishna can be defined. So that's why in the flyer, it was mentioned what Krishna instead of or beyond who Krishna. So what means, what are those characteristics with which Krishna is sought as a guide, as a guru? And talking about the guide and the guru, I would like to mention a few words. That is, In those good old days, thousands of years ago, king like Dhritarashtra can be running the kingdom, can be executing the orders, but the direction is from their guru. So understand, and why they seek guidance from the guru, because the world, understand, the first word is what? Dharma kshetra. It is that kingdom, it is that area, it is that battlefield on which dharma is being executed. And the reason dharma again is dharayati iti dharma. Dharayati means beholding. Now, what do you mean by beholding? So that with which humans are called human. Or if you take sugarcane's dharma, if a sugarcane is not sweet, could you ever imagine the sugarcane being bitter? If it is bitter, it is not called sugarcane because the very dharma of sugarcane is sweetness. Understand? So now, some of you would ask me, what is the dharma of human being? And as we keep on going throughout, we'll be learning the word dharma. So it is that with which beholds, which makes us stand to our definition, meaning humanity or something, our behavior that always does better good. Now, you may wonder, what am I talking about better good? Larger good. Because sometimes executing certain ideas may, our mind be dwindling. Should I do this or should I do that? In that, you have to be very composed and with a peace of mind, thinking, what is my fundamental duty? If you are a soldier and your fundamental duty is to protect the people of the country and to execute this, if you have to kill a couple people, but you are not killing them with a sense of anger, with a sense of duty. You have to kill with a sense of duty and sense of protection. I will give you one little story on it, and you will know that what a true warrior with a true sense of dharma fights. And again, try not to take it, please do not project to any personified form. So I will just say, there was a king and he was attacked by another king. When he was attacked by another king, they both came to an understanding that let us do the wrestling. And whosoever falls on the floor and both the shoulders can be touched to the ground, then the person is defeated. And once the person is defeated, the winner has a right to kill the person. That means if he has a spear or a dagger, he can put the dagger straight through the chest of the loser. Let's not get too sensitive about it, but learn the idea as to what is the spirit of sportsmanship. So it so happened, King A and King B. King A is on a winning side, but he has an utmost sportsmanship spirit. It so happened that he wrestled down King B, and King B appeared to have been hurt, so he could not get up. Now understand, at this very stage, King A could have very well put the dagger in his chest and the case would have been over. So as he's just taking, not with an anger though, it is all sportsmanship. So as he's just ready to take the dagger and put it in his chest, King A spits on him. As soon as he spits on him, and the King B had a dagger in his hand, just a couple inches away from King A's chest, King B stops. And he says, we'll continue the fight tomorrow. King A is shocked to death. Is he crazy? That his victory and his killing me is just a couple inches away. And why did he say we'll fight tomorrow? It will make us all think. But then King A had to wait for tomorrow. He goes home. A couple of his friends carries him, massages him, and makes him ready for the next day. The next day he comes and started wrestling. And before even to start wrestling, King A was so shocked he cannot sleep all day. Why? Because the question was bothering him as to why did B did not kill me? Because I was just a couple inches away and I don't think I could have even gotten up because I'm so hurt. I was so hurt. And that's when the golden words got uttered, and King B explains that, my dear, you spitted on me, and that made me angry. That such a person like you, who is considered to be my competitor, and I thought that you had an excellent spirit of sportsmanship. How could you spit on me? And as soon as you spitted, for me fighting with a non-sportsman, it made me angry. And when just the dagger was a couple inches away, and if I would have put the dagger through your chest, I would have done that action in anger. It was not the sportsmanship spirit. It was not the action of a brave person. I was at that moment under the influence of the anger, and that is not Dharma. Understand, such a beautiful story. So any action taken in anger and not in the spirit of the sportsmanship not in the spirit of Dharma, in that case, you have to bear the fruits of the action. Right now, I will not get into the theories of karma, but just to understand this, the spirit with which you do any action, if that is not done with that spirit, then you are doing adharma. Adharma means not dharma or unrighteousness. So, understanding this, what is righteousness and what is dharma? And when you are to do anything that you were to do, you execute your action for better good and for which you are meant to do. And when you do it, you are said to be on the path of Dharma. So here, Dharma kshetre kurukshetre, Dhritarashtra is using the word, first word is Dharma kshetra. What does he proclaim? That Kurukshetra, Kuru kingdom or Kuru's kingdom or Kuru's dynasty, before it is the dynasty, it is Dharma Kshetra. It is the country of Dharma. It is the country where people are beheld by righteousness. Beheld by means their entire life is full of righteousness. Righteousness, what does it bring as a characteristic? Righteousness people are always content. They're always peaceful. And they're always loving. So sometimes you may wonder how the love and the word can go together. Mind you, enemies here the soldiers or the warriors, their fundamental duty is to protect the people from any evil. So, but Dhritarashtra is so proud and so much is thinking that my dynasty, Dhritarashtra's dynasty is Kurukshetra. So Kuru word can be replaced with the word Dharma. To that degree, he was proud. But as we will progress further, how and why adharma means unrighteousness. So if I'm using some Sanskrit word, kindly pardon me, but I will immediately translate and explain you what does it mean. So by the way, now you know dharma, righteousness, adharma, unrighteousness. So as soon as person unknowingly performs unrighteousness, and I would call unknowingly, but in executing their duty, if the person is blind to his or her duty in certain area, then even though he thinks that he is doing the righteous cause, but no. So in a very, very summarized fashion, The whole war was fought with Dhritarashtra, the king, love for his prince of wealth, his eldest son, Duryodhana. So he thought that Duryodhana is the most deserving and proper king. That is his thinking. And he was always favoring him. We will also not get into the detailed characters of Duryodhana and whatnot, but to understand that while executing any of individual's duty, if we do not have better good reason, if we do not have a wider reason, and we get carried away with our narrowed, selfish intention, in that case, you can say, in the name of Dharma, we do Adharma. So in that case, even if we have two eyes and we could see very well, but we can be considered to be blind people. So understand now with these, the character, the king, Dhritarashtra, is portrayed by Sri Vyasa as blind king. Whether he was or not is a different story, and let's also not get into it. But if we understand the word blindness from a wider point of view, even though we have eyes, but if we cannot see the truth, if we cannot see the Dharma, if we cannot see the better good, if we cannot see what as a king you were meant to do, and you take, and your mind will play the trick, and mind will say, out of all the children, including Arjuna, Duryodhana, his prince of wealth, is the most suitable king after me. That's what he thinks, mind you. And why he thinks so? Because of his personal love for Duryodhana. And that's not what the king is supposed to do. King is supposed to, it could be anyone in the entire kingdom, select the most deserving person who will look after the kingdom and will treat the people of Kuru dynasty, and that to be selected. Similarly, we can take a worldly example. Let's say Mr. A is the CEO of a huge corporation, and he is about to retire. And if he selects his son to be the next CEO, and his son at that time wasn't even working in his office, so we can say that Mr. A has been blind. He's not looking for the company's better progress. He's looking for his son to be employed, and as a result, all the financial gain can come to and stay within the family. He's not interested in the growth of the company. So, understanding this point, the word better good. Of course, his son coming is good for him, but the better would be the right candidate who has worked in the company, knows the operations of the company, has very brilliant ideas of projection and the growth of the company. If that person is selected or elected to be the next CEO, then the company will grow. So the idea or the fundamental need of CEO is to look forward the growth of the company. When he would take his son to be the CEO, he's doing good, but he's not doing better good or more good. More good will be, better good will be the one whose sole idea is to look after the growth of the company, smooth running of the company, and executing for the benefit of the entire company. And as well as what the company is meant to serve the society. It's not only the company making money, company growing, company expanding, but to serve the society, better good. And that needs to be understood. And this understanding will not come with our egocentric mind, with our selfish mind. For that, even though one may not have time, but a true sadhaka finds the time for meditation in the relative silence of the time of meditation. His mind reaches to the point of non-reactivity. And what do you mean by non-reactivity? Calmer and serene mind always brings out the solution, which is better good. At that time, again, I'm saying mind will be playing or can play a very dirty game. Mind may try to justify the unrighteous activities. Dhritarashtra can say, there is no better king than Duryodhana. I know my son well. But that's his mind projecting selfish intention and not for the benefit of entire Kuru dynasty. And Kuru dynasty, mind you, is not elsewhere. Kuru dynasty is each one of us, our life. Our lifespan and our all the activities is Kurukshetra. And if Kuru or the Dhritarashtra happened to be Mr. Smith, or let's put my name, Sonaji, then I don't have, even though I don't have any kingdom, but I have my own personal life. And that personal life is my dynasty. In that, I, as a human, am to perform utilizing Dharma, utilizing righteousness, and to do what is better good. Understanding the world better good. And this is not one day's affair. It's not 2 days affair. But it's the whole lifelong story. Human birth is for that reason. And when a kingdom has a guru, and the king consults the guru, here guru, you may not have to look for a third person outside, but in a very contemplative, nice, serene, silent stage of your being, at that time, your silent being is the guru, because at that time, your mind is not playing the game. It's not your mind who is making the decision. Decision comes from the heart. So it is intuitive information rather than brainy, intellectual, logical decision, or I would say reactive decision. So understanding this point, and will further continue on this topic of Dharma Kshetra, Kurukshetra. And this way, you do not need a Sanjaya, the minister, to let you know at what stage in the fight, what stage of array of soldiers are got together, that guru or that minister Sanjay is within oneself. And you are not fighting with anybody else, mind you. You are fighting with yourself to do or not to do, like or dislike, good or bad. Let us ask each one of us, is it not our life to do or not to do? This is liking or disliking. It is so important that this war we are fighting every single day. And that is where the path of righteousness, it is a very difficult decision to be made, because we'll always be looking for a selfish and shortcut. Let me stop here. We'll continue the following Monday. Let me use the Shanti part. Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnam Dachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Hari Om. That's it. let me take you to this question answered in case you have any question. If not, Hari Om. So you can kindly unmute and raise your question. If I will be capable of answering, I will. If not, we'll try to find out the answer. Okay. Kindly raise your hand, otherwise you don't have to. And if you think you want to email me the question, you may do that. All right, let me begin with Raksha. Do you have any?
Thank you. So yeah, my question would be, when thinking about the Dharma versus Adharma, could it be said that that if you were to do something, either internally or externally, without, like in the name of Dharma, but it's not really with the true guidance, would that be considered Adharma?
Say it once more.
So if you were to either act internally or externally, and you believe that you are being guided by Dharma, but it may not be so, is that considered this like Adharma?
Yes. You say guided by so.
Like you believe you are being guided by this guru, by this Dharma, but in actuality you may not be. Or it's something that you like, it is something that is not valid.
Very good question. And you said in actuality. Who decides the actuality? That means your mind is in a reactive state. So I definitely say it is Adharma.
Okay.
Remember the story I told you. The guy spitted and momentarily King B became angry. Most of the time, we don't see our anger. We say, you son of a gun, spitted on me, bang. No, but he was a good observer. He studied his mind second to second. Okay? So that's why meditation and contemplation is utmost desirable, utmost. And it may not happen overnight. It may take years before one reaches to calmer and serene state of mind. And every time, no matter what you do, if you become aware that you are serving the Supreme, then you are doing right. And that should come from the very deep from your heart that you are serving the Supreme. How could you serve the Supreme and you put the dagger into somebody's chest? You follow it with anger. All right. Anybody else? Next.
Thank you.
Very good question, by the way, Raksha. I'm proud of you, dear.
Thank you very much.
No, I really like our conversation. I think what you were saying about the corporate world, where CEO, needs to make the right decision for the company first, then employees need to put him or herself last. And I think this is every decision they make, not just about his or her son being selected, but every time you have a conversation. So, for example, if you have a cost structure issue in your company and you have to let people go, how you make the decision. And those are very difficult decisions, but you have to really have that kind of a priority, that you always put the company first, then your employees, and you put and then, this is very difficult. And I think some of the conversations and some of the things that you were mentioning about doing much bigger, thinking about what you said, I like that, better good for the company, better good for the community, because if you don't take the cost out, you're not going to be a successful company. But it's very hard for employees that, why do I have to leave the company when, but, those tough decisions, you still have to make it, but you have to keep that kind of a priority in mind. And whatever you do, the company comes first, then the employees, and you need to be really taking the third priority. And this is very hard thing to do. I've seen a lot of people not really following that, but making it that practical and making it that, I think if you can learn, similar principles, it's in everyday's life, right? Because as you said, am I doing A versus B? And if you can weigh that in a very objective way, that what is the good for the community, what is good for our family, and I should put myself last. But that's very hard thing to do, as you said. So anyway, this is just the beginning, but it's a lot of really interesting.
Yes, sir, I have something to say.
Okay, of course. I should be neglecting you.
No, I learned a very important lesson today in the fact that stopping and thinking, we forget to do that. In the name of so-called helping somebody, we do kind of get to a point where one can get irritated, and then, but you still go on helping someone, right? And then now after this class, I'm feeling, oh, wow, I'm probably not giving it my all. I'm helping because I think I have to, but I'm not really in that. I need not be angry, but there is some disconnect. So this stopping and thinking, the Dharma part, are you doing that action for what it is with all attention? Stopping and thinking, it takes practice, I think, every so often.
Okay. And I admire you for admitting that you are not doing it, because to remain centered is one of the biggest dharma you have to follow. Okay, and that is centered, you know what I mean, always calm. As the king bee was calm, otherwise he would not have seen his anger. So being centered.
Yeah, the always part we forget. We start out gung-ho, but
Correct.
Yeah, I think meditation and knowledge is very important for that.
Ramesh, yes.
But I think that's what we are going through.